Hi, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. So, today, well, the end of the day, it's been Valentine's Day all day. So, I thought what a great day to come on and just talk about love, right? Um and not love in necessarily a romantic sense, but love as it stands in our lives. And this weekend, my oldest daughter's birthday, she just moved and she is in Portland. We took a family trip to go and see her for her birthday, and it was so wonderful. It was absolutely amazing, and just being surrounded with all of these people that I love, and just having that love just surround me was so amazing. And today I've been able to kind of go through that and really think about acts of love that have really gotten me through and continue to get me through. And I wanted to discuss it. So let me talk. I'm going to look at some of the comments and address those, and we'll come back to the subject. And I got my coffee right here. Kim, I am well. Happy Valentine's Day. Hi, Mama Mode. Erin, hello. I am well, but Noodles is sick. Oh no. I hope she gets better. Pot of chicken noodle soup. Yes, that's the way to go with that. John Wick team, Family Love Day. Yes. Um, so when I went on this trip, I have a colleague that I work very closely with that immediately was like, "Hey, yeah, let me come and grab Rowan, and she can spend the time at our house." And I am consistently reminded by my community, by my friends that I consider family, how much I am loved. And I noticed a comment at one point, um, where somebody was saying, "I wish you love." And the thing is I am here because I am loved so much. Because sometimes it's hard to, I lean on that to remember to love myself, right? Oh, Matayek, hi, love you too. Gaston, happy San Valentine's Day. Big hug from Argentina, hug from Seattle. Um, so great to see you doing well and being with family, right? Bonjour. John Wick team, happy Valentine's Day from India. Everybody's here from all over. You guys, see, this is love. This is being surrounded with love. And I just find myself so lucky to have that in my life because I remember what it was like to not feel that and not to be able to feel that or have that. And so, to the person who said they wish me love, I am so blessed to be surrounded by love. Even sometimes when I can't feel it myself, I know it's there. And I wish that for everybody. Um, so today, I showed my love for humanity by really working on um, coming together. We're pushing a lot of things forward, right? So here in Seattle, we are hopefully getting to expand what is called our protected classes, and we have many protected classes already, but so we want to expand that protected class to those experiencing homelessness, those in unions, and tighten up some of the other language to make sure that people are having, a recourse to when they're discriminated against, and on and on. So we're pushing that forward. We're working with, I met with some people in Maine today and talking about housing first and non-congregate shelters. I'm getting ready for conference. I will be in Oakland, California from February 28th to March 3rd. And so if you're interested in, attending the conference, it's National Alliance to Ending Homelessness, and it's going to be a great time and very informative. And I will be presenting on violence against the unsheltered and what that looks like and ways that we can combat it. Let's see, Sunshine. Oh, Seattle Judy, you walked a mile in the shoes of understanding. Love you. You too, though, right? This. Thank you, Seattle Judy. I have so much respect for you and the work that you've done as well. It takes a lot to do this work. And that's why I'm talking about, like, even though like today was stacked full of meetings and constant, like looking at different things and thinking, it was a day of showing love. Even in the frustration of doing this, it's a day of showing love. It's a day of showing up. And so while I do this on a regular, not just Valentine's Day, I just want people to know that sometimes that is what showing love is showing up, doing the things to make sure that your community feels your love. And I find that to be just really rewarding. And it also reminds me that there are others doing the same for me when I'm not at my best. Let's see. Sunshine is compassion and goodwill towards others too. Yes. Is there a virtual component? As a matter of fact, let me take a look, because a lot of our stuff is hybrid, but I'm not sure National Alliance is doing a hybrid option this year, but I will look. I should know. So I am sorry, I do not have the answer for that question. But okay. Oh, I guess registration for the conference is now sold out. So that is not good, but there are others, and I will keep you posted. Because if people are, on the vlog are really interested in what I do, I can actually post these conferences and let you know what's going on in that world. I talk about it a lot, but I guess I don't share those links. So let me talk about the one I'll be going to Oakland, of course, with National Alliance for Ending Homelessness. But in the end of March, I will be going to Chicago for the International Journal of Global Homelessness conference, and it's going to be their first one, and that's in Chicago from March 21st to the 23rd, I believe. And that one, I believe, I I think that they are offering hybrid options, so that would be a good one to look into. Um, then the next one will be in May, and that is the National Healthcare for the Homeless Councils. And theirs will be meeting in Baltimore, and that'll be from May 21st through May 24th, I believe. And so I will also be attending that one. Another one that I'm hoping to attend, but they do not have any scholarships at this time, is our Human Rights Cities conference, and that's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. And that is also in May, but I don't have the dates for that yet. And also a lot of work going on virtually, boards, committees, all of that. But myself and a lot of others are working tirelessly to really give solutions and end homelessness, and realizing that this is not just a local, regional, or national issue. This is a global issue. And so that's why I'm like really excited about the International Journal of Global Homelessness, because I think it'll tie in a lot of stuff to how it is, the similarities and the solutions that can be used across the board, look at some successful models of what's been going on. So super excited about that one. Well, I'm excited about them all, but that one. Let's see. If you have no money to give to a homeless person, just say hello. That means a lot. Heard this too many times to never forget. Absolutely. Absolutely. And also now, and I'm going to type it in, I am a development team lead for an app called Shelter App. And it is on Google Play and iOS. And it is a location based resource app. So it is only national at this time, and we're still adding resources as we go. But what this does is if you don't have supplies, you don't have money, and somebody is in need, you can literally pull out your phone and it will give you lists of resources that are on in your location, and it'll give you information about those resources and where to go to get that done. And so that just say hello is wonderful. And then there's a component in there where people can, be that connection for maybe a person that doesn't have the digital access to look at these things. So it's called Shelter App. I'm super proud of the work we have done on that. And just in case you are a provider, please go and claim your service or add your service if it is not there. We are so big on engaging and just showing that as a provider you can update in real time if you'd like to. So if you have beds available, you can update that immediately and take them away as needed if somebody's got the room. So it's super exciting. Check it out. It's got a little purple house thing, square. It's pretty cool. Um Let's see. Amanda, Erin, you're a very special person and your compassion is inspiring. Thank you. I love that you say my compassion is inspiring because, like, it's it's like raging against the system. It's like wake up and rage, though. Like, it is fueled by compassion, but sometimes there's just this rage at how we got to this point and having to battle so hard to make even incremental changes that save lives. So, yeah. Amanda, have they translated it to different languages in case a homeless person can only speak Spanish, for example? I believe so. Let me take a look. Because that was one thing we were talking about because we don't have it translated in many languages and we need to. But that is super important. And it actually looks like I'm not seeing a place to do that. I'm going to bring that up with Raj like immediately because we do need that. And that's Matt, you're wonderful. You're wonderful because that is huge on equitable access, right? Is having those things in the languages that people need. And you're right, Spanish should definitely be on there. I believe, though, I don't know on the app, but on the website, which is shelterapp.org, it does have um, language options. So that is the website. Go and check it out if you'd like. And we are looking at adding services globally. So if you are a service provider around the world and you're interested in doing something like this in your locale or just talking to us about how, um, who's, or wait a second, Sunshine Girl, nice. We are a volunteer run. No non no nonprofit funding, all volunteers. That is what Shelter App is. But a lot of the organizations that I work for are nonprofits, but they are very good about um, giving stipends and things to the volunteers that are on task forces, boards, and committees. So we really we use volunteers, but we are also big on making sure that um, in a lot of cases there is some compensation for people giving their time. Um, but as far as Shelter App goes, we are all volunteer nonprofit, and we do this because we believe in this work. And it's super important to us. And actually, that's a lot of organizations, and I have so much respect for that. Because to even be where I'm at, I had to volunteer thousands upon thousands of hours, which I needed to do also just for the education piece. None of us come into this knowing everything, and I learn something all the time. And by giving of my time and committing to different ways of being harm reduction, um, tiny home, shelter outreach, policy, giving of that time has educated me in ways that I couldn't be educated otherwise. And so I think it's so important to support grassroots campaigns, nonprofits, people out there doing the work, right? Which again, gonna just rep my starting of my new nonprofit, Focus on Rights. I'm super excited about it, and I think that we're gonna do some really amazing work. Um, and so we are getting that going again, always fundraising for that. So there are links in the description to do that if you're interested. And if not, just like spread the word. Like we can always use networking. Hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm always looking to make connections there. Um, let's see. Oh, thank you, Matt. Amanda, I would gladly translate it to my native language, Swedish, for free, but it is such a small language. Let me, Matt, you have my email address, right? Actually, you know what, guys? I'm going to put my email address in here. And if you have anything that you would like to offer, volunteering, thoughts, comments on any of this, get a hold of me. I'm always up for emails and discussing different things. And it's important to get everybody involved. And like, we have like this huge forum, right, from people all over the world. So, while I don't like, I love talking about this and this is my life. And so it's great to see like everybody just coming together and like, yeah, getting on this and getting on board. I love it. Thank you guys. Um, and Matt, speaking to Sweden, there is actually, I don't know if you know about the Raoul Wallenberg Institute for Human Rights, but they are doing some really, really good work. And I am hoping at one point in time, like after I get done doing the things for the year and have to plan, at some point I would like to go and just kind of check out what they're doing, and I have some connections there. So I didn't know if you knew about that, but like that's something that I'm really looking at too. They're doing some really amazing work. Let's see. Sunshine Girl, sharing resources is great. I would love a sustainable multi-dimensional home like Cobb, for instance. I have not heard of Cobb. We have I'm really interested in this 3D printing of homes. I think any innovations that we can come up with to uplift our housing supply sustainably and quickly is good. So there's so many things out there. There's another sustainable. I didn't even know about this, and one of my colleagues brought it to my attention, and it's called Eco Thrive, and it's a pilot program in Burien, and it's a sustainable community. I will type that in the chat. Eco Thrive. I'm not sure if it's .com or anything, so I'm just going to put it in there. Let's see. In France, we have structures to accommodate the homeless, but they are beaten up and robbed, so they often return to the street. Yeah, we have an issue with that, and that's when we place people in congregate shelters. So what we're calling for now is really an end to congregate shelters, because we found through COVID-19, right, that putting people all together in one space is just not acceptable. And I talk about that as kind of the charity model versus the human rights model. And so where I come from is the human rights perspective. And so warehousing people is not okay. Now, if that has to be done because there's like a hurricane and everybody's got to get to one spot, I get it. But this is not something that we need to be doing and treating people. So we go for non-congregate shelter spaces or transitional until they can get into housing. And I'm a huge supporter of housing first, which is also along a human rights level. In other words, we understand that to have any success or to thrive or to get better, one of the foundations for that is a safe place, safe housing. And it is not safe to be in a room with grouped by this what you're experiencing. Just because somebody is experiencing homelessness, that's an experience. It doesn't make them the same as every other person. And to just blanket term people and put them all together is wrong. So yeah, that's very common here as well, that people don't utilize shelters because it's not humane. And I didn't utilize shelters when I was unhoused. I was in a tent, and for many of those reasons, I didn't feel like getting assaulted. I didn't feel like being sexually harassed. I didn't feel like getting bugs. I didn't feel like having to deal with, other people's, issues when I'm trying to heal myself. So there are many, many reasons it's just not appropriate, for many people. And the way we're going to end this is housing first. And I believe it's Graz, Austria, that is also implementing housing first as well. And so there are Finland as well. So there are many countries that are doing this and having a lot of success, and we are looking at those models. Um, Awesome to provide additional network. Absolutely, Sunshine Girl. And yes, this is great. Yes, I do have your email address. Good. I thought you did. Laura, happy Valentine's Day to you too. Do you think these problems with the unhoused will ever get better? I am so disappointed in my government. I live in Canada. I think, and this is the frustrating part, is that change comes incrementally. And for a long time, we have let the fact that we have this idea somehow that it is a personal or moral failing to be in poverty or to be experiencing homelessness. And it's not. Most of it is systemic. Now, while we're starting to address some of the systemic issues, these things have been ongoing for over a century. So we are making changes. And I do think that we have the solutions at hand to end this, but it's going to take a commitment. It's going to take education. It's going to take everybody out there telling people what that solution is, looking at the evidence and the data instead of just these personal little stories that people like to throw out, to try to refute large data sets. And so it's really important to engage our communities. It's important to recognize that if you see an encampment, that's a community of people. That's not garbage, that's not trash, those are human beings. And so I think the more we can humanize people and tell those stories and show the larger data sets and show what works, and really focus on those solutions, that we will make huge differences, and we can solve this and we can end homelessness. But it is going to take a commitment, and it is going to take a lot of money, and it is going to take a lot of putting time and effort and money into our infrastructure, because we have allowed it to fall to the wayside, and we don't have the infrastructure anymore to support and heal our communities. So that's in a nutshell. There we go. That's what I think. And I would be willing to discuss this at length with anybody. Um, so I've heard of that institute. Yeah, they're great. Amanda, I need to go. Like I said, many are called, few are chosen. You were. Your eyes will see beautiful change. Thank you, Seattle Judy. I'm sure you said you had to leave, but you were wonderful. Sunshine Girl. Also, harm reduction is a good direction. Yes, absolutely. Stigma reduction and decriminalization. Yes. I do a lot of educational pieces on harm reduction. And harm reduction is something that we do all the time in communities and as a society don't think twice about until it comes to those that are vulnerable, right? And so it's educating people on the fact that, for example, if we're going to talk about people who have substance use disorder and harm reduction, we're gonna say, well, the thing is, and what I like to do is I have a chart, and it says people shouldn't use drugs, and the shouldn't is in red, and people shouldn't do this or people shouldn't do that. And what you do is you deal with things on a pragmatic level. So you take the shoulds and shouldn'ts out. People do use drugs. What are we going to do about it? Obviously, throwing everybody in jail when it's humans have used substances for a millennia, and it's varied in acceptability and criminality throughout the ages. What we understand by that is, what are we going to do if people are using drugs, which they are, and if people have substance use disorder, which they do? How are we going to reduce the harm to themselves and to the public? And we have evidence-based things that work. And some of those things include needle exchanges, safe use sites. And the way I like to talk about safe use sites is because we do it all the time and we don't think about it. So back in the gap, there was a little thing called prohibition. And what happened during prohibition is a lot of people just started making backyard liquor, right? And people were going blind and dying, and like it was crazy during this time. People were being arrested, whole families, lives were destroyed. And it's because of these laws prohibiting alcohol, because people still used. They didn't take the shouldn't out. So what they did after they decided, oh man, so now we have a crisis on our hands of all of a sudden we have a high rate of people having families destroyed and dying from, this unsafe product. What we're going to do is we're going to legalize it with regulations, and we're going to provide a safe supply. So no more backyard stuff. We're going to have inspections at these places. We're going to make sure that they're they're mixing things in the right way. We're going to make sure that we're measuring, um, portion sizing. Like a shot glass. There's a reason it's for a shot glass, is so you know that how much you're getting of what you're getting. So you know that your supply is safe and it's coming in a portion that you can or cannot control. And the same thing goes for other things. And we found this out with the legalization of marijuana as well. Um, when you look at it, when I go to buy my supply of marijuana, it has where it was grown, the lab that tested it, the date it was harvested. It has all the information I know to know that this is a safe product for me to consume. And that's what throughout history has worked as far as harm reduction. I could go on and on and on, but now I kind of feel like I'm lecturing. So I'm going to stop doing that because this is not one of my talks. I'm like just connecting with everybody. um, so it's like people don't listen. I mean, communities, it breaks my heart, especially when people get so darn cold. Unhoused are people too. Why aren't we looking out for each other, right? And I think that that's where we need to be, is really um, destigmatizing, making sure that the narratives, when we're talking about people, are uplifting and positive, where we're not just talking about problematic behavior, we're talking about people that are surviving and doing well, with grace, and doing the best they can, and making sure that, we understand that this can happen in our world. We are set up for those with very little to fall into this trap, and have barriers upon barriers in order to get out of it. Um, let's see, Sunshine Girls, safe injection sites, yay, right? The mafia thrived then. They did, and criminal organizations thrive when we do things like criminalizing substances and making an unsafe supply. And again, a whole nother conversation. This is all very wonderful. I thrive on these things, just so you know. Like this is my heart, talking about these things, and doing, like, this is what I do on a daily, and I love it. Um, do you know a country with best support for those with substance disorders? And they have great national policy too, but it is not well known. I am thinking Portugal. And we tried to model what we were doing on Portugal. The problem is we implemented it wrong. Portugal really had a great um, policy when they decriminalized, because they had access to treatment. And one thing that we did when we decriminalized here in Seattle is we did not up our treatment. So we have very little capacity for treatment and healthcare, because again, we don't have universal healthcare. So we have very little access for treatment, and we just decriminalize things. So we didn't instill the safeguards to protect our public health. We just said we were modeling it after Portugal, but then did not implement it the way Portugal did. And so it has not been very successful. Again, could go on and on about that, but implementation is really important. And that's the same thing with Housing First, right? So Housing First has been around for a while, but a lot of times it's implemented as a throw somebody in an apartment and leave them alone. And that key component of keeping them housed in healthcare is left out. And then they call that Housing First. And what I like to tell people is Housing First is not housing only, right? There is a key component there of even somebody who wasn't experiencing homelessness. There are supports that need to be instilled to keep our communities healthy and thriving. Um, I am making crochet toques. My daughter is too. I don't know what that is. Laura, is I crochet, but I'm not sure what that is. She's 16. Crocheting is awesome. As a matter of fact, I need to get some yarn. I have been like wanting to crochet something for a while. Sure, Sweden on the top of the list. Also, Finland is also leading the charge on some really innovative programs. But it's the thing is it's I don't know if it's innovative for them, but for us, like being the country that we were like shocked, like people are caring about their citizens and communities. What is this craziness? um, Wraparound support lacking. Yes, yes. Beanies. Oh, love beanies. That's awesome. Those are like my favorite kinds of hats. Well, except for my sun hats. I do like my big sun hats. John Wick team, $3 billion donated by Europe and the United States to wage war in Ukraine. Um, I look at that separately because we're going to do it anyway, right? Like, we don't, in our country, I wouldn't even like that's a drop in the bucket compared to the tax breaks that we give, just ridiculous. It's honestly, that's a drop in the bucket to the absolute waste that we throw at different things in our country. And very little of our budget is put towards supporting our communities. Let's see. Well, sorry, Canadian term. How cool, Laura. I do like Finland. I've never been to these countries, but I'm always like reading the studies and looking at their models and just like so grateful that there are countries and people out there and even not just the like the Nordic countries and things like that. There are countries all over the globe that are implementing some really amazing programs. So when we look at these people starting these things, like it can translate over a lot of times, and I find that really wonderful, and it makes me feel so wonderful that we are all so integrated and interconnected on a level even larger than I realize sometimes. Um, the only problem when I make them, it gets really cold out. It's weird. It's like a sixth sense. Hats are going to be needed. Any special foods you enjoy for Valentine's Day besides candy or chocolate? Um, I didn't really pay attention to that today. I did make myself some hash browns and eggs because I really do like hash browns. Um, Not really. I didn't really think about. I was more today focused on what we're talking about and making sure that I let everybody in my life that I could think of know that they were loved, and just, and sitting and being really mindful of, even though things aren't always perfect, that I am truly loved, and being able to stop and just feel that love, and 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 just sit with that rather than all of the other stuff that's going on, like with my son and other stuff. um I still am working on my global chocolates that I got for Christmas. And so far, I'd have to say the best one I've tried so far is Peru. And that was so good. So, my daughter got me these Trader Joe's chocolates, and it's like a passport to the world or whatever. And it has all these different chocolates from different places. And I've had like three of them now, and the one I like the best so far is Peru. And it's this amazing flavor with, and they didn't like add cinnamon, but it almost has like a hint of cinnamon. And it's super good. Let's see. Do I still paint? I do. I actually just ran out of canvases a while ago, so that's on hiatus for just a hot second, but I do still paint and I absolutely love it. I keep telling people when we solve these issues, like that's in my back pocket. Like I think all of us that work in this field should think like we are going to solve this and then like have our plan. And my plan for after we solve all of this is to work on painting and my photography. um, Matt, sweetest chocolate? No, actually, I all the chocolates that are in this come from where they actually like single source, so where they grow the chocolate at. So it's the different regions of growing and where they grow the chocolate. Where do I get my canvases? Usually off of Amazon. Um, did I sell the sunflower painting? It was so beautiful. I've done a couple sunflower paintings. If you mean this one up here, like I'm not sure, was it that one or was it the Ukrainian one? But the one up there is actually going to be going to Wisconsin, to a very good friend of mine named Sheila, who is family to me. And when she was visiting, she said that she absolutely loved that one and wanted it. And so that is going to be gifted to her. Yeah, so that one is spoken for. And I do love doing that. Like if I sell paintings, but if ever there's like a family member that's like, hey, I just love that and need that, it's like, I, it's theirs because I don't think you can, like, it feels so good to have people interested in your art and to see your vision and especially like spending time in my younger years feeling like it was something I had to hide and I was ashamed because it wasn't good and I didn't think it was worthy and then I just opened up and it was just like I'm doing this and it's worth it to me and that's what matters and I love the fact that my mindset has changed on that and it's really freeing. Um or you bring more color to our world when you paint those beautiful canvases. Creativity. Thank you so much. Yes. And as soon as I get more canvases, I will be working on some more. I've already got like tons of ideas and like some pictures saved that, I use for like inspiration. So super excited about that. So now, how was everybody else's Valentine's Day? Did everybody else have a great one? And if you can type in what was really special about your day and what you would like to post as your celebration. I've gone on and on about mine. Amanda, I always say that you are talented. You do, Matt. Thank you so much for your support. Like everybody is very, very just compassionate and just loving towards me, and I appreciate that so much. Um, LOL, my kids say, Mom, you can't buy any more yarn, right? What I'm going to do though is so we have these things in our area called Buy Nothing groups, and it's like through Facebook, and it's like a group where people just like give things away. And so if you're looking for like craft stuff or whatever, a lot of times you can just post in there, hey, I'm looking for, does anybody have any yarn that they're looking for? And a lot of times, like people have like somebody's got a bunch of yarn sitting, and they'll be like, yeah, hey, come pick it up. Or if you have something that you're not using or want to get rid of, you can say, hey, um, hey, I'm giving this away. And it's super good. It's like a mutual aid. And so when I'm looking for like supplies like yarn and stuff like that, if I don't have a particular project, if I have a particular project, then I'll go to like the yarn store, Seattle Yarn or whatever, and get some. But for the most part, I try, like, I'll just see what I can get into a project. Um, I did not do anything special on Valentine's Day this year. Aw. Well, hopefully you treated yourself a little bit. Like, I think that's important, is showing ourselves love during this day. Um, my Valentine's Day was whack, as my teens would say. I do know a few people that share that sentiment. I had a couple friends that weren't having the greatest of times either. Petting my favorite cat as well as eating a nice marinara cheese ravioli meal. Ooh, that sounds so good. And discussing making a better world with Amanda and friends. Ah, that's wonderful, right? That makes for a good Valentine's Day. I have, yes, and I went to Portland over the weekend, so I have been spending the day. My cats and dog miss me so much, and so they've been very, very cuddly. And I know I'm going to be going out of town again here soon, so like, they're going to miss me so much. But their cuddles are the best and are so healing. I'm very big on the positive impact that pets have in lives and just in wellness overall. So, anyway, I just wanted to come and share with you guys and just, make that connection. Mine is a total lap cat. I have one that she's not a lap cat, but she'll like force her. She like comes up in my face and I'll just like rub her face. And then she wants some pets for like 10 minutes and then she's done for like the next 5 hours. And then the little one, she just follows me around. And if I sit down, she like curls up next to me until she gets the zoomies. And then Rowan's just Ro. She's amazing. Is it better with your son right now? Unfortunately, no. There were some developments. So I ended up at one of my meetings. We have a space after one of the meetings for people with lived experience and those that are struggling to have like a sharing space. And I was like, listen, I need resources and I need resources now. My son is dying from this. And, one of my colleagues was like, hey, I have something, I've got him a hotel room. All he has to do is show up. So when he gets there, let me know, when he comes to my house, let her know, and she'll have that waiting for him. So he came, I was like, go now, they have a room waiting for you, you know, get your stuff. She waited and waited and waited, and he never showed up back up here 2 days later. And I was like, why didn't you show up? Oh, it was too late. No, your name was at the lobby if you would have showed up. Oh, well, I didn't know. I said you didn't show up the next day either when she was waiting for you. Oh, well, I had. And I was like, all right, whatever. So he comes back and then he's crying and he's like, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. But he's like changing emotions constantly, like just trying. And I know his psychosis is really bad. And so I called our crisis connections line. And this time I actually got through to somebody. It was really great. I was like, yeah, because it's so hard to get through to just about anybody. But I stayed for half hour on hold till I got a hold of somebody. Really wonderful woman, was willing to do anything, and send him, into treatment, getting his information. So I hand the phone over to him so he can talk to her. And she's asking just, the follow-up questions, trying to make sure that, things are getting entered right so she can get him the help he needs. And he hangs up on her. And I feel like I kind of broke right there and was just like, it's one thing when there's no capacity and there's no resources. But it's a whole nother ballgame when I have asked my community and colleagues to jump through hoops to help save my son. And he does nothing. Um, and so I just let him know that this is not going to be a recurring thing. Um, when he does want some help, whether that be treatment or not, whether that be finding transitional housing, whatever that looks like for him, whether that be starting medical treatment, whatever it is, then yes, I will be there and I will help. But I am not going to be manipulated. I am not going to be the place where he goes to overdose. I am not going to be that. I will be a place where you can get a hug and get told that you are loved and you are worthy. I will be the place where you can swap out for clean clothes. I will be a place for a meal. But other than that, that's it. At some point, somebody said something to me the other day and it made complete sense. At some point, I have to respect his decision to live his life the way he'd like. Whether I think that's beneficial, whether I think that's good, whether I think anything about that, he is his own human being. And if he is choosing, however that is, to not to live that life, then I do have to respect that. I don't have to incorporate it into my life, but I do have to have respect for that decision. Um, and that's really hard because I want him getting help. I want him better. I want my son back. I want him healed. I want all of that for him. But I can't make him want that for himself. That is a journey he's going to have to go through. And coming to terms with that is really hard. But I do believe in always being that person to say, you are loved, you matter, and you are worthy, even if that's the only thing I can do. So that's kind of the point I'm at right now is that, yeah, there's not a whole lot that you can't force someone to do the things that they need to do to thrive. You can offer them opportunities and hope that they take them and love them regardless of whether they do or don't. But also, keeping strong boundaries so that you don't drown is very, very important. And of course, again, like I said, I started therapy weekly, and that has been super helpful to just talk over these issues and really, sit with it and walk through it and keep myself from becoming angry or bitter or defeated. And so I am doing the things that I need as well to take care of myself in this situation. Let's see. So just let him struggle. That's so different. Like it isn't at this point. It's not a matter of letting. Um, it's being there with somebody through the struggle. It's not an easy road, and I don't have all the answers. I am walking through this myself, and it's scary. And I've learned so much. And I am so lucky that I have chosen the field that I have because it gives me more understanding as to what is going on, but it doesn't make it easy by any means. And I don't think anyone has all the answers. And I think that each situation is different. Guardianship has been brought up to me, but that's not helpful either. That just makes it so that you are liable for someone who isn't making those choices. So I have some good news. I've been telling my daughter she's only 18 that she needs help for a long time. She got it. She's out of the fog and it is clear skies. Yay! Isn't that wonderful? That is that is super important. And I think it's beneficial. I think we should all really concentrate on our well-being And that's also, our mental and emotional well-being as long as our physical well-being. It's all interconnected, and I hope to someday erase the stigma of 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 focusing on those things, and making sure that they're important in our lives, because I just, as somebody who is suffering or experiencing bipolar, complex PTSD, major depressive disorder, and a whole host of other things, um, I think it's important that we educate and erase the stigma, not just for ourselves, but for others. I'm wishing this for you. She's finally diagnosed with bipolar. Good. It's a long road, and there is no cure. It can only be managed. So I hope that she, you know, s- gets it's so hard because a lot of times it takes a long time to find treatments that work, but it's worth it when you do. And I just wish the best for her, truly, and let her know that I am there and I am rooting for her. Um, it's a big deal, and and it's great to get help. And I am just so proud. Like, it's a wonderful thing. I could go on and on about that too, but thumbs up. All right. If nobody else has anything, I'm probably going to get going because I should probably go to bed. It is now after midnight. But I just wanted to talk with you all and just touch base and tell you all happy Valentine's Day. And I am sending so much love to each and every one of you. And thank you for your time, your conversation, and your support. I appreciate you. Everyone, have a great evening. Bye.